Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, hey! Welcome to the program, folks tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this right here is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. It's been a minute. How's everybody? Happy Friday to you. Sorry I haven't been here. I have been unwell. You heard of a little thing called COVID? Well, let me just tell you, it's rather unpleasant, okay? That's the truth. Since this thing started in late 2019, early 2020, I never caught it. Well, 2 weeks ago, I caught it. It is not fun. I dodged the bullet, kids. I dodged it for almost for 3 years, just about. And finally caught it. And you know what happened, right? I bragged to someone the week before that I had yet to get it. And I was the only person that I knew that had not caught it yet. And boy, was that a mistake. I'll never do something that dumb again. Well, I can't promise you that. I tend to make bad decisions all the time. But we are back. We are healthy. We're looking better than ever, or something like that. And we are back on the show. Let's get the ticker ticking before we say hello today. If you read that ticker, kids, then you know, yes, this is episode number 298. That means if we stay on track, in just 2 weeks' time, we'll be celebrating episode number 300. I'm quite proud of myself. This has been a long time coming. Started this podcast back in 2014. So technically speaking, we're in season 10. And the next year is the actual 10 years. I count this year as year 10 because, again, it's season 10. So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about here today. A lot of good things to get into. Can't wait to get into it with you guys and gals here today. Sandy in Germany is first at the table. Guten Tag to you, Sandy. Great to see you, my friend. Mean Gene, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Ray all day. Thank you for checking in on me, brother. I meant to answer you, and I don't think I ever did, so my apologies. We are back, and we are healthy, so that's good. Yes, Sandy, how are you? It is almost episode 300 for sure. Will, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Hope all is well with you. Sugar Shane, what's going on? E, how you doing, my friend? Alma, how are you doing? Good to see you today. Glad you're joining us here. Let's see who else we're saying hello to. Rebecca, how are you doing? Good to see you. Robbie's on board with us today. I put him on. I took him right back off. My apologies. Yeah. So there you go. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you're hanging on. Timothy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Nancy, great to see you, my dear. Hope you're well. I am vaccinated. I am. But I've only had one booster. Isn't that dumb? I had the 2 initial shots and the 1 booster. I talked to somebody who said, I don't understand how you got sick. You've been vaccinated. And I'm just thinking, do we still not know how this works? It's okay, right? I mean, you didn't offend me, not you, but like no one. I mean, it's fine, but it's just that thing. You know what I mean? It's just odd. Some people, it's okay though. It's all right. Yes, we will kick back with that today. Yes, rest in peace, Mr. Jerry Jarrett, a legend of the business. Love him or hate him, and I don't want to go there, but there's a lot of stuff there. But you know what? It's okay. He done a lot for this business, and there's no discounting his contributions. Double V, Victor Vasquez, how are you doing? COVID is a jerk. Well said, 100%. All right. Carlos Martinez is joining us from YouTube on another account. What's up, Carlos? Welcome, brother. Let's see. Ray, what did you say? I missed your comment. Actually, my letters are in Japanese. You see where my name is? That's Japanese for "Oh, Captain, my Captain." So there you go. You may refer to me as "Oh, Captain, my Captain." Gary Benfield, owner promoter of High Velocity Wrestling. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for tuning in. Oh, Tim. Let me just tell you, brother, we got stuff coming. With episode 300, you're going to see a whole brand new intro. There's going to be different music. There's going to be different graphics, the whole nine. I'm going to have different sound bites. We're going to adjust this thing up, and hopefully you guys did, because I get into it. I think you guys will like it. Before we go any further, I would ask a couple of things of you. One, please smash the like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Costs you nothing, makes me feel great. Number two, share this stream, man. Share it. I want to fill the room up today. I want to go for 50. Let's go 50 plus, baby. However many people can get in here today on a Friday at 5 o'clock when people are trying to get to their weekend. Yes, my timing is horrible, but you know what? We're going to make it. I promise. So yeah, it is what it is. But if the more people can get in here, the better. So again, please share this stream on your individual pages. That would mean the world to me. We're kicking off today. We got a lot of things to talk about and only an hour to do it in. I got a hard out at 6. So everybody buckle up and hang on. We're getting started here. Rumors abound that CM Punk could possibly be speaking again to AEW. For everybody out there who believe that he was going back to WWE, supposedly what's being said is he has been under contract to AEW this entire time. He's still under contract to AEW, and that's just how it is. Now, does that mean that he will not see him back in McMahon's company? It does not mean that. I'm not saying that you won't, but it appears as though, at least for now, that's probably not going to happen. Now, I will not sit here and say it's guaranteed. I will not sit here and tell everybody here that I believe that you'll never see him again in WWE, because you never say never. And anybody that says never in this business or talking about this business is an idiot. I said it. There's some bad takes out there, kids. I'm going to try to hold my tongue today. Try to be professional. But yeah. Sometimes I get a little salty. That's all I'll say. I see some takes out there, and I guess all right, look, cards on the table. You guys know I'm not a massive fan of WWE. I haven't been a massive fan of anything that company's done in years. I enjoyed the Bloodline storyline, especially when they got going next to Cody Rhodes. And in my opinion, from my chair, that's the best things they have going. Now, here's what I'll say to you. I don't really enjoy their product. You will not find me going off on their product in rants on the Facebook. If you want to, that's fine. Or if you choose to go off on another company on the Facebook, that's fine as well. If that floats your boat and makes you happy, go with God, brother. I got better things to do with my time than to sit around and complain and gripe and moan about a company I don't like. I told you, I can be a little salty. My patience for a lot of things has worn thin, okay? I don't believe in my heart of hearts that I hold any grand responsibility as a podcaster to anybody. I started this out of the show for fun. I still do it because I enjoy it. I do it because I got folks that ask me about it all the time and want to tune in and have been tuning in for years and downloading for years. And I appreciate the support. But I started out doing this because it was fun. Am I going to sit here and say I've always been perfect? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you this again, after 10 years of doing this, my patience has worn thin. Again, I don't claim to hold responsibility or any sort of, I'm a podcaster, I should be above X, Y, and Z. No. I'll let everyone do what they want to do in their own good time. And it's not up to me to facilitate how they do whatever they do. And if they want to hate on somebody and bash on somebody, this company sucks, and this company sucks, and this company sucks all the time. Man, I'm off beat, aren't I? I guess they can. It's weird. It's really weird to me, and I don't understand it. But again, go with God, brother. But you have to understand, I didn't come to this as a podcaster. I came to this as a writer. And as a writer, I was told from day one, here's how we want it. Here's how, okay, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z, given all the basics. And I decided very early on, I don't want to do just editorials. I want to do analysis. So when people say, Tom, what do you do? I'm a podcaster and an analyst. That's what I am. That's what I consider myself to be, an analyst. It's not up to me to write the column. CM Punk sucks, and here's why. CM Punk's. Oh, he sucks. He's crap. He's garbage. I don't write like that. And you won't find me writing like that. It's just not my style. I will give you the pros and cons and leave it up to you to decide in the end. I will give you the good and bad. I'll give you what I think versus what the truth may be and let you decide in the end. I'm a little salty today. My apologies. Does anyone here want CM Punk back in AEW? Forget the other company for a minute. I'm not even going to talk about that. Does anyone watching right now, show of hands, do you want CM Punk, the Second City Saint, the voice of the voiceless, all that stuff? Do you want to see him back in Tony Khan's company? What do you guys want? Reese says, I really hope he'll return to AEW if those guys can sit down and set the garbage aside. He and FTR and the Elite could make some money. I agree. I don't know if I agree that he'll be back. We're getting a bunch of no's. Ron says he'd be fine seeing him wrestle again. I'm so mixed on this. And look, at the end of the day, Punk's not calling me to get my opinion. And whatever he chooses to do, I don't have to like it or support it. Okay. Whatever is okay with that company and whatever they all agree on, if they're all in lockstep and everything's the way it needs to be, and it works for everybody and it's the right move for the company and for him and for the guys he ends up working, okay, go with God, brother. I don't know what else to say about it. And that's perfectly fine. Do I want to see him back? He doesn't owe me anything. Let's get that straight. All right. He doesn't owe me, Tom Clark, anything. Okay. But I would like an explanation. You don't have to give it to me, and it's okay if you don't. But I'd like something. I'd like something other than, I got a little mad. That's not good enough. In my opinion, it's not good enough. However, again, I'm not the one he's got to make happy. He's got to make that locker room happy. And if all the talk that's been going on for the better part of, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever it's been now, if all the talk that's been going on is true, that he's alienated everybody in that locker room and they're flat out saying they don't want to work with him, the Elite, beginning with the Elite, then that's a problem. I've been a part of locker rooms where guys said, I won't work with so-and-so for various different reasons. It's not good. It's not good for the locker room. Okay. Nancy says, I think he showed do what he wants to do to beat it. It's his decision. Yes. We don't have to like it. Absolutely. Alicia, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Welcome back to the show. Again, getting a lot of no's, getting a few, okays or maybes and yes in here, but a lot of no's. I still like him, and he doesn't need me to have his back. Boy, this thing's dusty. Here's something else. Look at that. Oh, I'm ashamed. You would think that I would take care of this. The optics of it are not good. Let's clean the mic. Don't drop the mic. Clean the mic. Then I'm going to pass it. Nobody? Okay. Wow. Remind me to clean all this up before episode 300 gets here. Okay. That way we all look good and everything's okay. I can't clean the filter right now because if I do, it'll all up in your ear. And no one wants that. All right. But yeah. So I don't know what I want here. Again, he never did anything to me. He doesn't owe me anything. I would love an explanation. I'd love to know. Does he have to give it to me? Absolutely not. It's not. He doesn't have to make me happy. But it's the whole thing is a bit wonky. If I'm being honest, the whole thing is a bit wonky. And again, for me personally, I just don't know how I'm feeling about it. Forgot the overlay. How you like that? 2 weeks, I'm already out of practice. Isn't that something? Jeez, what are you going to do? Alicia said to me, he brings trouble wherever he goes. It's okay if you have that opinion. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. In my opinion, I don't know that he brought trouble to the other company. I think that the other company was a mix of a lot of different things. I think the other company was a mix of they didn't know how to book him, or they did and they didn't care to. I mean, this is a company that put Punk against a guy that was in retirement, meaning your boy with the hammer. And I ain't talking about Thor, okay? And as soon as that dude beat Punk, he went back into retirement. Bye-bye. Rock beat him. Lesnar beat him. Taker beat him. Everybody beat him. Who was back to work on that Monday? Punk was. And towing the line and putting his body through insanity for that company, for that title. I don't know, man. And again, not defending anybody, just calling it like I see it. But that fight in the AEW locker room, I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. But, I wasn't there. So Ray All Day says, I don't want him back. He's burned too many bridges. He'll never go over again, in my opinion. Adam Cole's king. It's okay to not like him. Nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be negative. I'm not going to bash you for that. Everybody can have their own opinions of it. As I said before, I still don't know how I feel. Let's transition a bit. Let's talk about MJF. Is MJF the best heel in the game right now? For anybody that says he's not, and if your answer is no, give me one who is. Give me somebody that's the best heel in the game today, if it's not MJF. What's up, Jeff? How are you, my friend? Alicia says yes. I happen to think MJF is the best heel in the game. At any given time, that flip-flop with Jay White, when Jay White was at his height with the IWGP Championship, I think in his first reign. Yeah, it's because he's held the title twice, hasn't he? I think. Yeah. But now I think MJF is the best heel in the game, my opinion. Tim agrees. Jeff is the cream of the crop. Nancy, are you saying, how about Bully Ray? Is that what you're saying? Interesting opinion. Bully Ray's in, and it's okay that he is, but he is so in the bag for the big company for WWE. But so is Booker T. You know what I mean? They ride and die by WWE, baby. That's their ride and die, 100%. 100%, man. Crazy. It's okay. It's all right. We're all used to it. These websites that grab these headlines, Booker T said this, and Eric Bischoff said this, and Vince Russo said this. Why do we care? Why do people still click on those three guys? It's beyond me. No disrespect. I just don't understand why we continue to click on those three guys. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Brino Royce, best looking man in the pro wrestling business. How are you, my friend? Didn't expect that, did you? I've missed in here. It's been 2 weeks. The ball is over for him, Ray. Basketball is over for him. He tried out for the baseball team. He did not make it. There's a few little politics there. This is last year of middle school. He'll be heading to high school next year. God help us all. I'll be ready to hang myself when that happens because I'm old, okay? But he tried out for baseball team, 2 days of tryouts and didn't make it. It is what it is. I'm not really insanely impressed by the coach. Sandy says Grayson Waller is the best heel in WWE. Interesting take. Roy says, I don't know, but I do know MJF is better than me, and I know it. Well done. Well done. What he did Wednesday night, what he's been doing, I mean, the guy is just, he's hard to touch right now, isn't he? I mean, MJF, everything he says and does. And look, when he was in MLW, before he ever set foot in AEW, before he was ever there, before AEW was ever a thing, and he was doing his shtick that he does now in MLW, it was good. It was good. And he was really hated in that company. And he was always in character, even then, like he is now. He very rarely ever, occasionally on Twitter, he'll say something that's sort of out of character. But 9 times out of 10, he's in character all the time. So I have to respect that. Best heel in WWE is still Vince McMahon. Hard to argue that one. Everybody say hello to my producer, Nate Workman. Nate Dogg in the house. Let's see. Sandy says, can't wait for MJF to go to WWE and face The Miz. Brother, I can wait. I can wait all day for that. I don't ever need to see that. And I like The Miz, okay? But I don't ever need to see that. You know what's funny? Don't quote me. Don't. But I may have been, me, all by myself, I may have been the first guy that I remember reading anyway, to say that MJF is the heel that Vince McMahon wanted The Miz to be. Now, look, if I'm proven wrong, it's fine. And I'm not claiming that I definitely was. But at the same time, I don't remember at the time seeing that from anybody else. And the next thing I know, a month, two, whatever it was after that, everybody's saying it. And then Punk called him out on national TV and said basically the same thing. Nothing came from me. It's just that I guess it just sort of became, they physically look similar. They're kind of the same kind of heel to some regard. And I guess other people started to connect the dots and made the same comparisons I did. That's happened a lot to me over the years as a writer, and it's okay. It's fine. Like, I'm not like the smartest guy in the room, and I probably never will be. But it's funny how those things work sometimes. Tim says, best heels, MJF, JY. Am I a heel? Do I come off like a heel to you? Buddy, being a heel is fun. Let me just tell y'all right now. Being a heel is insanely fun. Miz is a good worker, 100%. I have no problem with the Miz at all. I never have. No, never. Again, certain people love that other company. That's their ride and die, and that's fine. But, Cody's an exception, in my opinion, of guys that they treated the way they deserve to be treated in terms of the character. And they treat him like it makes sense. Let's see, if you're listening, but we just a moment. There you go. Yes, you've been duped, Jeff. You've been bamboozled. Who do I think is the best female heel? That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer to that. That's a tough one, man. Who is the best female heel in the business? That's a tough one. Who would I pay to go see someone punch them in the face? Right? God, that's a good question. What's everybody's opinions on that? Eric Jackson in the house. What's up, my friend? So yeah, I don't want to spend all day on this, but I had to throw it up there and get your thoughts on it. Speaking of Jay White is evidently, not evidently, he is a free agent. So where is Jay White heading? WWE rumors have abounded, but apparently, supposedly, reportedly, rumoredly, evidently, maybe perhaps, he is not going to that company. So what does that mean for everybody here? He's got the match coming up with Eddie Kingston. Kingston recently put a stipulation on him that said if he beats White, that White has to that he can't wrestle under the NJPW banner even in the States. And then Jay reversed it on him and said, well, fine, but by that same token, if I win, you can't wrestle any NJPW talent ever again. So I'm guessing that Kingston is going to defeat Jay White. That's my take. We'll see what happens. Alicia, I would say AEW, but I mean, anything can happen. Anything can happen here, kids. Brenda says, I don't see Jay White being able to do himself. Yeah, I don't think so either. People just believe that because Triple H is like a player coach kind of thing. He ain't Bill Russell. that he can he will somehow do the right thing by these wrestlers. I disagree with that. And I think anybody running back to that company is going to find out the hard way that that's not always going to be right. And that's not going to be the case. But that's just my take. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Sandy says if Jay White goes to WWE, he has to get a new name because of Jey Uso. I don't know. I mean, in that company, you might be right. In AEW, that wouldn't matter. In AEW, they've got several guys with the same first name. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah. Tama Tonga, Tim says, also in talks with WWE. And WWE is the one company that both Jay and Tama Tonga over the years have said they had no interest in working for. I mean, WWE would work out for Tama Tonga because they'd play up who his dad is. They play up the connection to Haku, obviously. And I get that. But at the same time, would they do right by him? That's a good question. Hard to say. It's all such an unknown. Tama Tonga is so good in the ring. So good in the ring. $9 billion asking price for WWE. Isn't that something? Kids, we're going to Revolution not happening for a bit. It's on March 5th, Sunday, March 5th. Yes. But I want to touch on it just a bit. We had a match set up on Dynamite 2 nights ago. Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match. And also Samoa Joe versus Wardlow singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. Of course, we have the Guns defending the championships against the Acclaimed. Let's see, versus the Acclaimed versus Tag Team Battle Royal winners versus Casino Tag Team Royale winners. So that match is yet to be determined. And of course, MJF versus Bryan Danielson, AEW World Heavyweight Champion. We're going to get into this more. Next Friday will be the official AEW Revolution preview. But for right now, today, I just wanted to touch on it. What are you guys expecting from this show? What do you guys think is going to happen here? There are more matches yet to be announced, I would assume. We would all assume so. But I would love to get your guys' take on it and see what you think about it. Ray, I agree. Wardlow's most fantastic. Loved it. Which goes to show you, they don't do these things enough. They really don't. They don't do these things enough. They need to humanize some of these characters in that company. Well, every company could stand to do that a little bit better, I believe. But yeah, I think they did a great job with him. Or he says Revolution 9 hours long. Yeah, you never know. I don't care if the show's as long as it's good. I've sat through hours and hours and hours of other companies, and they're just horrible. And the matches just drag on, and there's no point to them. And I just don't. If the show's good, I'm in. It's fine with me. Gene says, I know a little back, but you can tell Vince is back with Nia Jax. Yeah. Nia Jax. Hoy. Look, here's the deal. They seem to love her. The locker room seems to love her. The women that she's worked before, with the exception of maybe a couple, seem to not have that much of a problem with her. I mean, I have said on this show many times in the past, she's unsafe. I don't think she's made for this, despite what her heritage is in this business. And I have no interest in seeing her. Now, if she heard me, little old Tom in North Carolina, saying all these things right now, she'd say, you're a hater. What do you know? You're just a fan. You're ridiculous. I don't like your headphones. I don't know. And that's fine. She doesn't have to like it. I'm not talking about the woman behind the character of Nia Jax when I tell you that I find her disinteresting and I don't like the way she's portrayed. But if you want to take it personally and say, okay, I kind of have a problem with the woman that is playing the character in as much as she can't work. No disrespect. I didn't say she's a horrible person. I didn't say she's the salt, not the salt of the earth. I didn't say she's not a great friend and a great sister and a great girlfriend or whatever. I never said that. Might be the nicest person you ever met. But in my opinion, in one guy's opinion, she's not cut out for this. She doesn't have to like it, and neither do any of you. Thank you, Marie. You're awesome. When are we going to hang out, man? We need to go to a show together sometime. Drive like 9 hours. It's got to be a good show, man. You know what I mean? It's got to be a good show. I saw that, Ray. The Rock's daughter is now Ava. Is it Ava? Ava. Anybody remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon with Hansel and Gretel? Hansel. Ava. Yeah. Brenda says, hey, Tom, welcome back. Hey, welcome back. Oh, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Shane says, you come to London. I would love to, my dream trip is England. Because I'm a big Beatles fan. And I would love to visit all the landmarks and check out Abbey Road. If that sort of thing can be done, I would freaking love that. That'd make my life right there. Another bit of news has come out this week. ROH finally begins showing episodes. It will happen on Honor Club on March 2nd. They're going to record some episodes coming up next weekend, I believe. And, some people are turning their nose up at this. And those same people probably don't like AEW, which always begs the question, why are you losing sleep and criticizing something you don't like? I just don't understand it. It's okay. I mean, I can't stop anybody, but it's just effing weird sometimes. For me, it's just weird, especially if you're not paid to do it. You know what I mean? If you're not paid to be a writer on a website or paid for your opinions. And back in the day, I'd get blasted for X, Y, and Z, Tom, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, sometimes I didn't do it every time, but there was moments when I had to pull that, gun out of the holster and say, yeah, but I'm paid for my opinion. Are you? Anyway, I digress. I'm a fan of the ROH brand. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to be on board. I'm a pro wrestling fan, and I want this little thing to succeed. I want AEW to get their ratings back. I want them to figure this out and get bigger and better. I want them to make a great TV deal the second time around. I want everything to work out. I like to see Impact get out of that tiny little studio and go on the road again. I like to see Impact get up to AEW's level one day. I think that'd be amazingly awesome. I like to see WWE continue. I'd like to see who else? I'd love to see New Japan continue to get into the States and make even more of a hold than they have now. There's plenty of room here, kids. The table's big enough for all these companies. And anyone that tells you it's not is lying to you. Don't believe that opinion. It's a dumb opinion. Okay? It's okay to have an opinion. Everybody's got one. It doesn't make you right. Okay? NWA. I'd love to see NWA do something. Brenda says he's trying to wrestle in England. Dude, I would love that. Are you kidding me? That'd be fun, man. Tim says The Rock will be in San Antonio, Texas this Sunday for the XFL. Well, there you go. Is that thing kicking off this Sunday? The third version of the XFL? God help us all. It's never going to end. I look 12 and a quarter. Brother, if that was true, that'd be awesome. Jeff, I will politely disagree with you. Any wrestling business is good business. There is such a thing as bad business. You know what I mean? There is such a thing. You know what I mean? But again, that's subjective too. What I like or may not like, you may love or hate. Who knows? Brennan says, I mean, if anyone makes the XFL good, it's The Rock. Well, we know what he did with that. We know what he did for that Black Adam movie, don't we? Brendan knocked it out of the park, didn't he? It's out of here. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. I had to do it. And you know what people would say? People who defend The Rock, well, The Rock's rich. You ain't, blah, 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 blah. Because that's like our comebacks for famous people. You wish you were blah, 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 like The Rock, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I don't care. Hey, look. Here's what I'll tell you in defense of The Rock with the whole Black Adam DC Universe thing where he seemed to step on a lot of people's toes and they didn't like him for it. And his ego may have got the best of him. They're still kind of, mad at him. Here's what I'll say about all that. You had one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, a guy that's proven moneymaker in the box office, big time action guy. How'd this get screwed up? How in the world did this get screwed up? Right? So people can blame him all they want. And I wasn't there. I don't know. But at the same time, how did this get screwed up? The Rock wanted to do this. He'd been wanting to do it for years. He was coming in full barrel, ready to roll. How'd this get screwed up? If the story wasn't right, should have fixed it. Right? Am I crazy? Am I wrong? Imagine if that movie had been a hit. Rotten Tomatoes scored 95%. And people say they don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. They should. You want to know why? It's not just critics, it's fans as well. You take the aggregate, okay? I'm just saying. I don't care about critics, blah, 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 blah. You care about other people like you, normal working class Joes who just go to see movies because ranking as well. I'm sorry. But imagine if that movie had hit it out of the park and they were talking about James Gunn like, oh my God, we're going to tie our horses to The Rock and he's going to pull us in the next phase of the DCEU. That would have been awesome. I'm a comic book guy, man. I would love to have seen that work. It didn't. But that would have been cool. I have an awesome background, Sandy. You don't like All Out from 2 years ago? I forget how long it's been. Didn't care if Black Adam, I think third time try. Yeah, I never. To be fair, I've not watched it. I can't say that it's good or bad. I can just tell you that it was a major disappointment in the box office. And what's funnier is that after it came out, he was doing the press rounds claiming it was a hit and saying that it making money. And everyone on the planet's going, oh my God, he's delusional. This movie hasn't made a dime. Isn't that funny? Oh, Jeff, same here. Yeah, because someone's not coming back from that film. And supposedly it could be 2 characters. We'll see. Did Seth borrow the boots from Papa Smurf for big? Yeah, I saw that. That was actually on Instagram a few days before Raw. And I forget what context I saw those boots in, but somebody had them on a video. So I don't know if that's where he saw them or what happened, but that was pretty cool. Look, he's a character. He's over, man. Everything he does works, right? It's the truth. Guys, we've got about 20 minutes left to roll here, and we're going to finish this show up with the big old show that's happening tomorrow night. You've heard of it. WWE Elimination Chamber. Because there's a lot to talk about, huh? There's not. A little bit. So hold on, kids, before we go farther. If you have not smashed the like button, smash the life out of it. And please, please, please share this little old stream on your page. Apologies for technical difficulties today, kids. We're going to try to get that hammered out before episode 300 gets here. Bruno says, I'm a Miss Sammy. That's good. Where are you at? Sammy is the most wrestling, most over in wrestling right now. Hard to disagree with that. What's up, Victor? How are you, my friend? Oh, Rampage is at 7. I'll have to watch the replay of Rampage. My niece and nephew are hanging out with us tonight, overnight. So as soon as I get off this show, I got to go hit the road and pick them up. Carlos says would be great if, or be interesting if Sammy wins 100%. So they do, one of the things that company does very well is taking a guy and heating him up big time, pouring gas on him, and then throw the match on him. Sometimes it's by design, other times not so much. Case in point, Bryan Danielson, who used to be known as Daniel Bryan in that little old company. When I tell you that they had no interest in putting him main event status of any show, it's 100% true. Okay? They just didn't view him in that context. The fans made him a star. And then they were kind of forced to go with it. So the fans poured gas on him and WWE lit the match and threw it on him. See what I'm saying? That's a pretty graphic example. I apologize. But that's what we're looking at. They also did it with Becky Lynch. The company had no interest in putting Becky Lynch on main event status. They just didn't. She wasn't their guy. Becky goes online and gets over. And the fans can't get enough of her. They tried to turn her heel on Charlotte. It did not work. Fans poured gas on her. WWE threw the match on her. Makes sense? And now here we are at Sami Zayn. Now, it worked out for Danielson in the short term. Did it work out ultimately for him in the end? You'd have to say yes. His last match was WrestleMania main event, right? In that company. You'd have to say it worked out. In the end. Took a while to circle back around, but in the end it worked. Is it working for Becky? Yeah, it's working out for Becky. Will it work out for Sammy? I'm just throwing examples out there to you and seeing what you think. But these are observations I have. He says, if your viewers want to hear about the other company, they can come hear me preview tonight's SmackDown on the Real Wrestling Community. Shameless plug. Well done. Everyone go watch that show and listen to it. You'll enjoy it. Shameless plug time. No, I did bring it up. Like I'm not going to support you. You know I love you. I'm going to support you all the time. You kidding me? It's my girls there, man. Got to take care of my girls. Aaron says he's 45 minutes late to the party. Shame on you. Everyone shame Aaron. I'm kidding. He says, what do you think they should do with the ROH tag titles? I did not answer that. Pair Mark up with somebody, tournament down the road. I say let Mark choose a partner. I say leave it up to him. That's my opinion. Leave it up to him. And I think maybe it should be Jay White. And don't worry about the name. The name doesn't matter. The names aren't real anyway. It doesn't matter. But who is he the closest to? Who did he have that match with after Jay's death? I'm just throwing it out there to you. You know, get him away from Jarrett and the big dude and Sanjay Dutt and just let him be with Mark Briscoe. Now, whether that'll happen, I don't know. Who knows? But in my opinion, let Mark just have a conversation backstage. Pull up 2 folding chairs and just have Tony sit down and say, let me ask you a question. If you could pick anybody on the ROH roster to be your partner to fill in for Jay, who would it be? Because I'll be honest with you, and again, I don't know. I never met Mark or Jay either one, so I can't tell you this 100%. All right, but here's what I think. I think if you could ask Mark right now, he would tell you, let's do the right things for the titles. The right thing for the titles. Because if Jay were here and I was gone, Jay would tell you the same thing. The titles are the most important thing. Tag team wrestling is what's important. Let's get the titles out there. And then, you know, if maybe down the road, you can circle back to me and a partner and we can take them. Right? At the end of the day, Mark's going to be a company guy and say, whatever you want, boss. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But that would be my opinion. Vic says Mark Briscoe and Adam Cole. Boy, that'd be an interesting pairing, wouldn't it? Of course I'm the favorite Peach. You kidding me? Third Peach, excuse me. He says I'm your favorite viewer. I don't know about all that. You always give me crap. KCA. From now on, you're KC. Casey says fans cheer heels and boo faces now. It's been like that for years. It seems like everyone wants to be a heel to get over. Both need to propel. I 100% agree, but it has been like this for years. Nothing's really changed. It just gets amplified. You have to have a very good baby face for him to never get booed on anything. And when I say very good, the kind of guy you can't take your eyes off of him, right? Rendell Hawkins, what's up, dude? Briscoe and Kingston. Ooh. Eddie or Kofi? I'm just kidding. That's good. Gary says the right thing for the titles would be for Mark to defend them alone. Of course, he drops his trash, but he does it with his brother's spirit. I'd be okay with that, too. I think that would work. It'd make for a really emotional match, wouldn't it? Oh, my God. Imagine him reaching out to the corner. That'd be cheap, wouldn't it? That'd be a cheap thing to do, wouldn't it? Like he's trying to tag out. Oh, God, I'll make myself cry. That'd be intense, right? Jeez, that might be the way to go. Ooh, that gave me cold chills. Where he says Eddie and Mark, OMG, yeah, 100%. Oh, let's get to this little old show. I said that like 4 times today. I'm record. Here's the lineup right now for tomorrow night. 5 matches. Elimination Chamber match for the WWE United States Championship. You wondered how important that title was. You about to find out Austin Theory defends against Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. The second Elimination Chamber match is Asuka. This is for WWE Raw Women's Championship. Asuka versus Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and Carmella. Actually, it's for the championship match at WrestleMania 39. My apologies. Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Judgment Day, Finn Balor. You like that? And Rhea Ripley with Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio in a mixed tag team match. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. What's the over-under of that thing going over 6 minutes? I don't know. Just asking. And then, of course, Roman by God Reigns with Paul Heyman defending the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Sami Zayn. There's your card as it stands. Don't be surprised if more matches are added. Oh, I'm out of breath. Circling back. Brennan says, I would love for them to do a tag title tournament. And Mark says he wants to do it on his own, have him get beat down. Be a great way to introduce Jay White as his partner. Jay White? You think Jay White and Mark Briscoe? That'd be an interesting team. I don't know how I feel about that. Jay Lethal's a better choice, in my opinion. Jay White's a single star. But you know what? I'm not going to crap on it. Boy, it'd be a very contrast. Of course, Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe's a contrast of styles as well, isn't it? He was just in Denver. My shoot job, we've got folks traveling to Denver next week or the week after. And I will not be one of them. I kind of wanted to go to, if I'm being honest with you. Gary says you should never compete in a tag team. I respect that opinion. I don't know if I share it, but I respect it. I think Mark will do whatever's best for business. I think Mark is a team player. He'll do whatever's asked of him. I could be wrong, but I think so. Gavin says, hey, sorry, late to the show. I am much better, my friend. Thank you for hanging out. Gavin Kane from Scotland. You knew I was going to do that, didn't you? Yeah, I'm very predictable. Let's see. What else? Kids, that's it for the Elimination Chamber. We've got about 9 minutes till I got to take it home. So until that moment comes, it's the open floor. Ray all day has been waiting to hit the send button. He can't wait. He's like, his finger's been hovering over enter. There it is. I knew it. I freaking knew it. Gangstar or Nice and Smooth? I'll go Gangstar with this. And Digital Underground or Rex and Effect? I'll go Digital Underground. If Adam Cole came to your house in a limo and took your family to the NBA Hall of Fame and you could take one extra, could I come? Yes. Later on the way home, he wanted to get coffee and 2 cookies. Could I have as well? Yes. Yes, absolutely. E, all the best to your mom, dude. All the best for a recovery, my friend. I haven't spoke to you about that in a while. But yeah, all the best. Brennan says Asuka wins women's, and I see a heel turn coming. For Asuka? Maybe. Tim, I'd love to answer your question, friend, but I am not dialed into the NBA. I really want to be again, but I'm just not. Let's see. Gavin says the Flash movie trailer. I can't believe it makes me want to see that film. The Flash does, because Ezra Miller's a train wreck. That dude can't stop throwing chairs at people or whatever he's done. Yeah, I'm not an Ezra Miller fan, and I hope that by the end of this film, they find a way to move on and get somebody else, in my opinion. But I'm really, really amped to see Michael Keaton reprise his role as the Dark Knight. And they had to throw the I Am Batman in there, didn't they? Or I'm Batman. Yeah. Will, if you have missed this entire show, my friend, it's okay. Come back next week. Rendell says random. Every time I watch a John Moxley, he bleeds. He does bleed 10 out of 10. It's in his contract. It's like Flair. No, I don't know. But it does happen all the time. Was it 2 nights ago when it happened? I'm like, he's going to bleed now? Really? All right. Yeah, I get that. Jeff says, I think I see a Raquel Rodriguez heel turn before Asuka. Thoughts on WWE 2K23? I have not bought a WWE game, a WWE 2K game. I don't remember the last I got. It's been a while. I'll tell you when I stopped. I want to say it was it 2016 when the game was very buggy? Not the it's been like that since then too, right? But I'm talking about the first time it was really like people really talking about it. I want to say it's 2016. I think that was the first year I didn't buy it, and I haven't bought it since. Alan says, "What do you see happening with Wyatt and Knight, brother?" I wish I had an answer to that. This Bray Wyatt stuff is just if there's a direction they're going with it, I can't put my finger on it. And I like Eli Drake. I refuse to call him LA Knight. I freaking hate that name. It's just me. But I like him a lot. Other people may have a separate opinion, but I happen to be a fan of this guy. And I've always been a fan of Bray. I just don't know where they're going with it. I'd love to know. We'll see. It makes you wonder what could have happened had he went to the other company instead of going back to WWE. I got 2 words for you. Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy. Brent says, not sure if you saw the Ric Flair doc on Peacock. No, I have not seen it. Guys had a rough life. Some of it was self-inflicted. Can we be honest? Some of it. Yeah. Some of it not. Just saying. 5 minutes, kids. Let's make them count. Let's make them count. Rob says, what is your Mount Rushmore of most laughable gimmicks? Mine are the Oddities, Ruban, Shockmaster, and Norman, the one who was from an institution. Norman the Lunatic. It's hard to beat that. It's really hard to beat that. My God in heaven. That's a good list. I don't know if I can disagree with any of that. I can't disagree with any of that. Here's what I'll say. The Oddities was basically an ECW gimmick, in my opinion. And in that company, that gimmick would have been fire and would have worked on every single leg. It worked for a short amount of time WWE until people got tired of it. But I think in an ECW, that gimmick would have been a monster gimmick. I think it would probably been the most overact that they had because it was just so different. You could also make the case that the entire ECW locker room was the Oddities. I'm just saying. Let's see. Brennan says, since you're a comic guy, which comic movie are you looking forward to the most? I would say the new Guardians for me. I'll say that. I'm hearing things about the new Ant-Man film. Don't anybody ruin it for me. I haven't went to see it yet, but I do want to go see it. I don't know. Germany would be fun. That'd be a fun trip. I don't know if I'll ever get that far. In my shoot job, we've talked about, because we have events, crypto events happening overseas all the time that our company attends, or we send people who live in those certain areas who are, good enough to engage or can visit these events. We'll go engage on our behalf and represent the brand and everything. It'd be interesting. I wouldn't say no. If I was approached, I wouldn't say no. I'd start making plans. Be different. Sandy says Braun Breaker needs to lose the NXT Championship ASAP. Brennan says John Lennon or Paul McCartney. Yes. Because you're not making me choose. It's too hard. Lennon McCartney fan till the day I shuffle off this mortal coil. I'm a big Beatles fan, by the way. My kid's middle name is Lennon, if that tells you anything. So there you go. Maybe I hadn't already made my decision. Kids, that's all for me. I'm going to, Sandy, thank you, my friend. Good night to you, my friend. Let's say goodbye here, kids. Do me a favor, everybody. Please go and support the podcast on the podcast platforms. It'll mean loads to me. Start again. Let's try this. Tom Clark's Main Event is available on all the major platforms for subscription and download today. Please do so. It means loads to me. And also, Tom Clark's 6M podcast. We focus on movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. Go check out that show. I have a lot of fun doing that with Mr. Phil Lindsay from Bleach Report and Grapsody fame, and sometimes other guest hosts as well. Always have a blast doing that show. And my 2 podcasts are available. Name the platform, they're there. Okay, I promise you they're all there. So Go check them out. Tom Clark's Main Event and Tom Clark's 6M Podcast. And if you go check out the 6M Podcast, please do me a favor. Message me and tell me if you liked it. Tell me what episode you listened to. That'd be sweet to know. We're on the Facebook with both these podcasts, as you know, and also on the Instagram with both podcasts, as you know. New episodes of the Main Event, as course as we know, when I'm here are on Fridays. New episodes of the 6M Podcast are on Tuesdays. That's all I got today for you, children. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It means a lot. You guys are the best. Do me a favor, go out this weekend, catch some cool pro wrestling somewhere. Watch Elimination Chamber tomorrow night. Enjoy the show. Get ready for next week. We should be back next week with episode 299. Can you believe that? It's nuts, right? All right, kids, I'm gone. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend and a great week coming up. Thanks, kids. We'll see you next time. Tom Clark's Main Event.